Welcome to the PowerPoint presentation on nutrition. Did North Carolina's adoption of the opt-out rule promote unhealthy eating in childcare? This presentation was prepared by Daniel Bates, Mary Beth Cosby, and Stephanie Hunter. Our team conducted a comprehensive environmental scan of nutrition and regulated childcare. We reviewed federal recommendations and initiatives, North Carolina childcare rules and initiatives, interviewed a North Carolina Child Care Commission member seated when the rule regarding the parental right to opt out of meals meeting USDA guidelines was created, and gathered data from both regulated and unregulated child care programs in 4 counties. We are delighted to share our findings with you. National Nutrition Standards, Recommendations, and Initiatives. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, or USDA, has established guidelines and recommendations for meals served, and these are promoted through many federal programs, including the Choose My Plate initiative, the publication Caring for Our Children, the National Health and Safety Performance Standards Guidelines for Early Care and Education Programs, Blue Cross Blue Shield's Be Active Kids Training and Program, and First Lady Michelle Obama's Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010. Which requires more fruit, vegetables, and whole grains in school meals, along with less sodium, sugar, and fat. Additionally, housed within the USDA is the Child and Adult Care Food Program, also known as the CACFP, which reimburses programs serving approved meals to low-income eligible children. The CACFP provides financial supplements for low-income children in regulated care. In North Carolina, we build off the recommendations from the federal programs and initiatives. Blue Cross Blue Shield NC offers grants and training to reduce childhood obesity through their SHAPE NC program. Eat Smart, Move More programs promote the vision for a North Carolina where healthy eating and active living are the norm rather than the exception. We have sponsoring agencies to aid programs in their participation with CACFP and North Carolina Child Care Rule Section 10A NCAC 09.9000 is dedicated to nutrition and regulated child care programs. But why was opting out included in the Child Care Rule? Well, in December 2012, the Child Care Commission adopted rule changes that required staff to model appropriate eating habits when with children. They limited the amount of juice to 6 ounces per day for preschool children and prohibited it in bottles. It eliminated flavored milk and permitted only skim or 1% milk for preschool age. And most importantly, it allowed parents to opt out of meals served by programs. If a parent opts out, the program must serve the meal sent from the parent, regardless of whether or not it meets the USDA recommendations. During our interview with a Child Care Commission member at the time of the rule change, we learned the changes were to be made in part based on the potential legal implications related to parents as primary caregivers. In honoring their role as primary caregivers, the rule changes respect parental choices, such as organic food, and respect the cultural diversity, such as food specific to ethnic preferences. What was the local impact for opting out? Take a look at the interesting information on the slide. If the parent or guardian chooses to opt out, they are required to complete a form which must remain on site at the child care program. The parent must then provide food for all meals and snacks that the program serves. The program is not permitted to supplement what the child brings from home. Some programs even require parents who opt out to call for the child if they fail to bring the required food. So what's in your lunchbox? Items brought in among the 10 programs scanned of children who opted out consist of such items as leftover pizza, bags of chips, flavored enhancing straws to accompany milk, and so forth. So of these surveyed, the number of parents who chose to opt out and provide their children's meals was approximately 1%. Of that 1%, however, 100% of the meals sent from home did not include foods that complied with USDA guidelines. This leads to the question, what does the USDA recommend? An approved breakfast includes a grain, a fruit, and a milk, such as pancakes, applesauce, and milk. An approved lunch would include a protein, 2 servings from a fruit vegetable, a grain, and milk, such as turkey and cheese wrap, green beans, mandarin oranges, and milk. An approved snack includes 2 items from different components, such as cheese cubes, crackers, and water. This is an example of a menu from a state-regulated child care center in Onslow County. The items outlined within the menu meet the USDA recommended guidelines. What are considerations for developing a menu? There are several items to consider when developing a menu within the setting of regulated child care centers. An administrator must take into consideration the budget allocated to order groceries for an approved menu. He or she must also consider proper storage of items when buying in bulk or commercially. In addition, if choosing to purchase from local farmers or local produce based on seasonal availability, the administrator must coordinate shipments, payments, and storage of fresh products as well. In order to determine the amount to purchase while staying within the budgetary guidelines, the administrator must also be aware of the current enrollment of children at the center. Food preparation and service must follow proper environmental health guidelines as well. Any substitutions for children with allergies or religious preferences should also be taken into consideration so that proper substitutions may be made. If the majority of children served choose to not eat based on their taste preferences, a village administrator will make changes in upcoming menus to ensure that children will find satisfaction with other healthy meals offered. It is imperative that the menus are compliant with supporting programs based on the requirements of those individual programs like CACFP or SHAPE NC, such as Meatless Monday, less fruit juice offered, and so on. The surrounding perceptions of commercial buying revolves around the fact that some items may be highly processed containing MSG, higher sodium, or even higher sugar content. Despite items being processed, some offer multiple components, such as breaded chicken breast, which has grain and protein. Commercial buying of frozen cooked items allow cooks within a larger child care center to quickly heat the food to the appropriate temperature and serve on time as scheduled for classrooms. Bulk packaging and pricing allows for cost efficiency when meal planning for the center and per child. Take a look at the 2 pictures. The nutritional label on the left is for commercially purchased meatballs through U.S. Food Service. On the right-hand side is the nutritional information for beef fajita strips, purchased from the same company. Food vendors work closely with regulated child care centers, assisting with product advice in effort to ensure USDA recommendations are met. Now look at the two labels for fruits and vegetables. Throughout our research, we found that some child care centers are buying fresh and frozen products in order to ensure that children receive the most nutritional value possible. The nutritional facts shown are based on fresh navel oranges on the left and lima beans on the right. Grain components may include, but are not limited to, bagels on the left and fettuccine non-egg noodles, as shown on the right-hand side. Each component's nutritional facts were found within a regulated child care setting in which our research was conducted. What are the advantages to opting out? At the onset of this environmental scan, we expected to find a large number of parents opting out and providing the meals. We felt that many would do this because their child was a picky eater, and they wanted to send foods that they knew the child would eat. We also expected many parents to choose to provide organic meals for their child, or would want their child to have foods that they were tied more closely to their family's ethnic or cultural roots. Our data collection showed the opposite. We found very few parents with an advantage by opting out. Now, when opting out, there was no reduction in their tuition. And they then incurred the additional expense of time and money in preparing and providing the meals for their child. It is important to note that special dietary needs and religious preferences are not included in this data, as they do not require opt-out documentation. Here you will find the regulated child care lunch costs for a 3 to 5 year old child. These prices were determined through bulk items available for purchase through the U.S. Food Service. In addition, these items were specifically purchased for their nutritional value as offered from the food vendor. Here are the parent packaged lunch costs. These prices were compared at Harris Teeter. To establish as close of a match in products as possible, with the only differentiation being organic versus non-organic name brands were used in the comparison. Generic brands may present a further reduction in the overall cost of a non-organic lunch. Organic turkey was range-free, grain-fed, and probiotic-free. Organic bread used in comparison was whole grain, wheat-free, and gluten-free. Costs compared show that non-organic items purchased may save parents a small amount if they choose to opt out. However, if meals are provided through the child care centers, parents may want to reconsider opting out, as they will then save in the overall price of the meal. For those families choosing to opt out based on their high nutritional value and content as found in the organic items, the overall price of their meal may result in twice the amount purchased commercially. In Dr. Sears' article, Shaping Young Taste, he articulates that taste buds and intestinal feel of food in early childhood years set the standards for what will be appealing through youth and adulthood. Children must experience flavor and texture of fresh and healthy foods during early years to plant the roots for lifelong health eating. His research further shows that yes, they will still eat cake and higher sugar content foods, but will eat less of them because their system registers satisfaction with consumption of a smaller amount. At least 1 in 5 children in the U.S. are now categorized as obese. Obesity is defined as having a BMI greater than the 95th percentile. Adults who experience obesity as children are at a greater risk for obesity as adults, with consequences such as cardiovascular disease, hypertension, and abnormal glucose tolerance. Smart Start and other agencies serve as sponsors for Shape NC, Eat Smart Move More, and outdoor learning environments. As sponsors, they offer training, support staff, and often grants for the participating programs. Did North Carolina undermine the movement for healthier children with the rule change of permitting opting out? Well, no. We found just the opposite. Our environmental scan shown that administrators of child care programs plan, purchase, and provide healthy meals and use fresh and seasonal ingredients as the first choice when available. This shift is in alignment with the movement initiated by First Lady Michelle Obama. Parents with children enrolled in programs that provide meals prefer the meals served to their children. Most programs that do not provide meals provide guidelines and suggestions to parents for packaging healthy meals, and most parents comply. Programs are actively working to increase child activity and reduce unnecessarily caloric intake with children in care through community support systems. We hope that an environmental scan in the future, which captures this movement and these initiatives, will show that these children have reduced negative adult health risks.